Hello, mountain bikers. I am here today reviewing my Trek Rail 5. I had this bike for over a year and 8 months, and I put on about 1,500 miles. And here's some of the rides that I've been doing so that you can see what kind of mountain biking I've been doing with this bike. Here are a few things that I want to tell you about this bike. When I first got this bike, the keyhole was not center. That release is the battery, and I took it to the shop, and it took 3 weeks for them to center this hole. So when you buy any Trek rail bike, make sure that keyhole is center before you buy it, because it will take you 3 weeks to get that fixed. Also, I had to upgrade my tires. It came with Bontrager comp tires that was not tubeless ready. And so it was slipping every time I tried to take a sharp turn. And so I had to upgrade the tires immediately. And so once I upgraded to Maxxis front and back, the bike been really good. Another issue I had with this bike was the front fork. It came with RockShox Gold 35 Gold RL, and when you go up steep climb, the front end would easily come up, and so I had problem with that, and so I decided to upgrade to RockShox Zeb. With this fork, the front end stays down even when I climb steep hills. And so this was a amazing upgrade. And so if you get a Trek Rail 5 or any other model, you definitely would want 38 Zeb on the front, or other fork that are 38. One of the major issue I had with this bike was the brake system. The Tektro, I believe, it came with the Tektro brake system, and that brake gave me so much problem. It had the rubbing sound. The rotor would rub against the brake pad, and that sound would never go away. I mean, I had done everything to get rid of the rubbing sound, and only way I solved that problem was by getting Magura brakes, front and the rear. And so these cost about $100 each. But with this brakes, I've been getting amazing performance. And so that I can just ride with brake power and don't have to worry about rotor always constantly rubbing the brake pads. The major upgrade I did was replace the rear shock. It came with RockShox Select Deluxe, but I upgraded to coil shock. Bike being this heavy, I highly recommend you get the 38 fork on the front and a coil shock on the rear. Because the air shock gave so much friction, my bike would clink every time I ride through the rocks or roots. But with this coil shock from DVO, I only paid about a little bit over $500 for the shock and the spring, and it has been amazing. I can ride through the rocks or roots, tree roots, and it would just glide over. I also wish the Trek had a fender here, and I made this fender myself, because you get so much dirt built up here when you ride, and you know, I had to take it apart and clean it a few times. But with this fender, I don't get as much as dirt built up in this location. So I definitely highly recommend Trek bike to build a fender for this bike. And again, here's the rear brake, Magura, that definitely took care of the problem that I had with brakes. After about 1,500 miles on this bike, I had to replace the cassette and the derailleur and new chain. I did NX and NX cassette and NX chain. It cost of all three cost about $150, and now it's riding like new, like a new bike. So I definitely recommend use the NX. I was didn't want to upgrade to electronic shifter because, you know, with mountain biking, if you fall and, you know, damage your derailleur, you end up having to replace it. So I'm perfectly fine with SRAM NX that only costs $50. Another thing I upgraded is my stem to this P&W, and the reason I upgraded was this little clip here. I can put my GoPro right there and videotape my ride, and it's been working out decent for me, and so I highly recommend this stem from P&W. I also upgraded the pedal. It came with a plastic pedal that you would use for maybe street biking, but I upgraded to this aluminum Stamp 7. Got it from Amazon for like $80, and it's been really good. So highly recommend you to upgrade your pedal once you get this bike. The last thought I have about this bike is that I paid a lot of money for this, but I realized that there are other electric bike, mountain bikes out there that are similar price with this, that you don't have to do so much upgrade. I found one of the electric bike that came with 38 front fork and a coil shock for the rear, and they came with better brake and better you know, chain and cassette and derailleur. So I highly recommend you to shop around before you choose to purchase Trek Rail 5. This is 2021 model, but 2022 they upgraded maybe the brakes, but everything else is about the same. So I highly recommend you guys to buy a different one, because if you buy Trek Rail 5, you will have to upgrade your front fork and the rear fork, because bike is so heavy. You need these kind of forks to give you the kind of ride that you want. And so shop around. I felt like Trek put so much cheap parts on this for heavy bike like this. It really did not worth the money that I pay for. The best thing about this bike is the Bosch Performance Alliance CX motor. This will climb any hills out there and will go through any rock gardens or any terrain. So the best thing about this bike is the motor. So I love this motor. You know, it makes a lot of noise, but the power you get from this is just amazing. Well, that's my review for the Trek Rail 5.